as a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honorable members, item number 4 on today's order paper, that is collection of votes and proceedings and official reports. We will commence with the collection of votes and proceedings. Page 1 on votes and proceedings. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page number 7. Page number 8. Page. No, are you on your feet, honorable member? Okay.
Yes, right, honorable. Page number 8, item IV.
Sorry.
Item IV. The name should read Anthony Mwenkara Suma. The spelling of Mwenkara is not correct.
Yes, table.
Please, to get it right, please refer to the attendance, page 5, number 203. Page 5, number 203, Suma Anthony Mwenkara. There's an additional I in the corrected name, which is not accurate.
Page 5, number 203.
That's how my name is adequately captured. That's where you can find it adequately captured.
So, table, the name was captured well in page 5, number 203, but there was a mishap in page 8. Is it page 8? Yes. Yes, honorable member 4. Are you okay?
Yes, and then on the same page, item 6, at in line 7, I think the word there should be dozens, which should be D-O-Z-E-N-S. and not D-E-Z-O-N-S.
What is it?
The spelling.
Spelling of what?
Mubarak, Muntaka, and dozens of other minority MPs. I think it should be D-O-Z-E-N-S. Not rather D-E-Z-O-N-S.
Table, have you gotten it? Table, have you gotten it? Honorable member, honorable member for Nadoli, it appears table is not getting what you are putting across.
Item 6, I think line 7, eh?
Item 6, line 7.
Yes. It starts with Mubarak, Muntaka, and the word there. Have you got it? Okay, thank you.
Is it dozens? Table, have you gotten it? Okay, good. So we moved, honorable member for Northton.
Mr. Speaker, still on that paragraph, item number 6. If my recollection is correct, the Honorable Deputy Majority Whip came under Order 91 and not Order 78A, as has been captured here. If there was an amendment later in the day, then it should reflect that there was, because it started with Order 91 and then probably later amended. So let's, if we can capture exactly what transpired for the records.
Honorable member, your issue, we have to record the correct version. The mistake that you are alluding to who appeared in the hands. So let's take it like that. Yes, page number 9. Yes, honorable member.
Mr. Speaker, paragraph 2, head has been misspelled. It should be H-E-A-R-D. There shouldn't be additional E.
Honorable, may you please speak up?
Page 9.
9.
Yes, and paragraph 2, head has been misspelled.
Table, have you taken note? Okay, good. Honorable, are you up? The same? Okay, good. Then page number 10. Page 11. Page 12. Yes, honorable member for Northton.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your guidance at page 12. In the spirit of the earlier decision that the records must reflect what has been corrected, I recall that yesterday the $28 million loan facility was corrected to now read 2021 to 2025, which is the more accurate period for our tenure. But all throughout from page 12, from page 12 all the way to page 15 is the same 2021 to 2024, which was corrected yesterday. So if it can be corrected accordingly.
Okay. Table, please take note. Thank you very much. page number 13. Honorable, are you up?
Yes, Speaker.
Okay, let's hear you.
Speaker, page 12, the first paragraph, line 3. There's repetition of in the third line.
You are on page 12 or 13?
Page 12, Speaker.
Okay, which paragraph?
The first 3 lines, line 3. The third line on page 12. The adoption of the report of the Finance Committee on the following. Repetition of on the. So I suggest we cancel one of the on and the there.
Table. On. So take note. Yes, Honorable Member for F2.
Mr. Speaker, first my apologies. First, my apologies for taking you back.
Okay.
But with your leave, we go back to page 8. Mr. Speaker, the last paragraph, the last but one line, that Mr. Speaker and leadership and therefore contemptuous of the House under Order 28. He mentioned that. So, Mr. Speaker, yes, that's no.
Yes,
No,
table.
yes, it has to be.
Table. Please address that under Order 28. Okay. So we go back to page 13. Yes, Honorable Member for Lower.
Mr. Speaker, sorry to take you back. Again, on page 12, item A, that's bullet A. We have double punctuation marks. We have a comma and a full stop. I'd want to, there's a double punctuation mark there. That's paragraph A on page 12. It's a double punctuation mark. There's a comma and a full stop.
Okay, well noted. Table. Please take note of that. Honorable members, that's why I take my time to read the pages. If you watch, I take time before I move to the next page. So I enjoy members not to draw it back. Page number 14. Yes, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, page 14, item 10, paragraph 2. Paragraph 2, the fourth line. Government of the Republic of Ghana was omitted. Item 10, paragraph 2, line 4. Government of the Republic. Item 10, paragraph 2, line 4 of paragraph 2. Government of the Republic of Ghana was omitted.
Table. Please take note. Page number 15. Yes, Honorable Member.
Page number 15. The top line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The eighth line. Instead of the minister and seconded by Honorable Member for Ajumaku, they made it Honorable Ajumaku for member, Dr. Teso Ato Forcing. It should be corrected. There is change of.
Table, did you get it? Table, did you get it? Okay, good. So we move to page number 16. Page number 16. Page 17. Page 18. Yes, Honorable Leader, Minority Deputy Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, page 18, item 13. The figure for the waiver was amended yesterday to read $11,512,095.99. So, and it has a consequential effect on page 19 and page 21. So the table office should correct it.
Table office, please take note. Honorable member, are you on your feet? Yes, honorable member for Southton, Northton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, page 18, the first paragraph, the last but two lines. Vehicles to be procured. Kindly insert the B, to be procured for members of the 8th Parliament.
Table, are you okay? Okay, good. Page 19. Page number 20. Page 21. Page 22. Page number 23. Yes, honorable member.
Page 21. The last.
Page
21.
21.
Yes.
Yes.
The last line has for whole central Mr. Benjamin Podo, Mr. duplicated.
Yes, table. Please take note. 23. Page 24. Page number 25. Page number 26. Page 27. Page 28. Page 29. Yes, honorable member for Lower Akin.
Mr. Speaker, my name was listed in the attendance list of the Communication Committee. I was present.
Honorable Speaker.
My name was missing in the attendance list for the Communication Committee meeting.
Honorable member, his name is missing. So take note. But did you attend the committee meeting? But how come they didn't record your name? Anyway, that's the report the committee actually brought to us.
Mr. Speaker, so I informed the clerk of the committee. So I just.
Yes, honorable member for Northton.
Let's get to Honorable Speaker. I would like to, with your permission, take us back to page 22 because if we do not do that, we will be most unfair to you. Yesterday, you worked very, very hard and presided over the House, but the acting deputy clerk who supported you and worked hard with you, his name is there, Mr. Ebenezer A. Jetro, but the Speaker, we have the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagging instead of your good self. So since you presided and you adjourned, because I cross-checked with what we did the previous day, which you presided, and you were accurately captured. The votes and proceedings the previous day captured your name, so I do not understand why this time is the Speaker. So if it can be corrected, or I don't know if there's a reason for that.
Thank you. Well noted. You handle it. Yes, we are on page number 29. Page 30. Page 31. Page number 32. Page number 33. Page number 34. And finally, page number 35. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of the 29th sitting of the second meeting of the first session held yesterday, Thursday, 15th July 2021, was adopted as a true correction of proceedings. Honorable members, we have official report of Wednesday night. Yes, Deputy Whip, Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to draw the House's attention to Standing Order 13.2, and that is temporary or continuous absence of Mr. Speaker. And with your permission, I quote, whenever the House is informed by the clerk at table of the unavoidable absence of Mr. Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker shall perform the duties and exercise the authority of Mr. Speaker in relation to all proceedings of the House until Mr. Speaker returns to the chair, without any further communication to the House. Mr. Speaker, as a House, we are being guided by our standing orders. And I strongly believe that, Mr. Speaker, once Order 13.2 is clear, the House will have to be informed about the absence of Mr. Speaker and for us to conform to our Standing Order 13.2. And that is what I want to bring to the attention of the House, if we may so be guided.
Well. We have taken note and we will give the House the whereabouts of the Speaker. Well noted. So we move to official report of Wednesday, 9 June 2021. Honourable members, the official report of Wednesday, 9 June 2021. Honourable, are you? Oh, I thought you are. Okay. So the official report of 9 June 2021 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Now, members, we move to item number 5 on today's order paper. Business statement for the ensuing 9th week. We will respectfully invite the Vice Chairman of the committee to do us the honors to present the report.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to present the business statement on behalf of the leader of government business. Mr. Speaker, this business statement is for the week ending 23rd of July 2021. Your committee met yesterday as usual and considered the program for the ensuing week. As Mr. Speaker can see on the first page of the report, 40 questions have been programmed in total, 1 urgent, 39 regular questions. Mr. Speaker may admit statements in accord with us 72 and 72. Mr. Speaker may also grant leave for bills and papers and reports to be brought to the House. Motions can also be taken with inconsequential resolutions. Mr. Speaker, I would like to have your leave to amend item EII of the report, which refers to the mid-year review of the budget. It is rather for 29th of July 2021. I had a late indication from the minister. So, Mr. Speaker, accordingly, that item be deleted completely. That is Roman numeral 2, II. No, we can't change the date because this is for the ensuing week, so we delete it completely. Mr. Speaker, there's going to be a public holiday on Tuesday, 20th of July, for the Eid al-Adha. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not going to sit. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, subject to Order 162 and Standing Orders 53, the committee submits to this Honourable House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the ensuing week. And Mr. Speaker, the order of business is per the attachment, pages 1 to 8. As Tuesday is a holiday, we are not going to sit, as indicated earlier. But on Wednesday, I'm sure, Mr. Speaker, all the questions have been programmed there completely. We also have the Thursday arrangement of business is being captured. Questions are also going to be programmed for the minister to come in. Mr. Speaker, we need to emphasize that the committee did not receive the referral from Right Honorable Speaker in respect of Mr. Suhini's. So that is why there is on the business statement. But I need to emphasize here, Mr. Speaker, our colleague has been engaged extensively, Honorable Kennedy Japan, on this matter, and I have received very positive from him, and I have no doubt on my mind that perhaps, not doubt on my mind that steps will be taken to deal with the matter appropriately so that there wouldn't be the need to even go into that long haul of, So, Mr. Speaker, I just needed to assure the House of these steps that have been taken by the leadership of the majority. We want to work together, and the media is not an enemy. We are not enemies to ourselves. Sometimes we slip. What is important is for us to take steps to remedy or resolve when these things happen. We are all human. So, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, having said all of this, I shall take a break, and as is customary, members make their inputs before we take the final decision. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the business statement for the ensuing night week has been duly presented to the House. It is for the consideration of the House. So members are invited to contribute to the statement. Let me first invite Honourable Member for Boko Central.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, last week when the business statement was read, I raised some matters, and I was hoping that they will be attended to, but unfortunately they have not. First relates to a motion, Mr. Speaker, in the terms that this Honourable House the recruitment practices of the state security agencies of Ghana between the period 2013 and 2020, and to establish the levels of transparency and fairness of those practices and make consequential recommendations. Mr. Speaker, this motion stood in the names of Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Alhaji Muhammad Mubarak Muntaka, myself, Honorable Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, Honorable Suini Alasan Saibu, and then James Agalga. Right Honorable Speaker, I have noticed that the motion suddenly disappeared from the order paper. As a co-sponsor of the motion, I have not received any notice of any reason why the motion will just disappear without my consent. I haven't been told that my colleagues are not interested. Indeed, what I heard was that the other side does not disagree with the motion, but rather wants us to extend the period of the investigation to cover from 1993 to 2020. So, Speaker, I have no objection to even extend it to 1957. But the motion cannot suddenly disappear. If anything at all, they will bring a counter motion seeking to extend the period of the investigation. And so, Mr. Speaker, I think that this motion must be brought back because I personally have not withdrawn the motion. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, there was a second motion which also was in the term that this Honourable House investigates the inappropriate interferences by members of the state security agencies of Ghana in the presidential election of Ghana in 2020, and in particular, the violence perpetrated against citizens, causing injuries and leading to loss of the lives of Tajuddin Alasan, 39 years, Abdallah Ayarik, 18 years, Emmanuel Dompre, 36 years, Samira Zakaria, 36 years,
Ibrahim Abbas 30 years, Rita Otu 15 years, and Hussein Musa 14 years in the 2020 elections and make consequential recommendations. Honorable Speaker, this motion also stood in the name of Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Alhaji Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, myself, Samuel Okujato Ablakwa, Suini Alhassan Saibu, and James Agalga. Mr. Speaker, this one too has disappeared and cannot be accounted for. And I raised the issue last week, and I thought that the deputy leader will address the matter, but unfortunately this week again, it has remained unseen on the other paper. So I want to draw attention to that. And then also to find out from the leader whether he will consider inviting the Minister for Agriculture to the House to explain the crisis that confront farmers in relation to accessing government subsidized fertilizer. Mr. Speaker, the rains are a problem, but even more threatening to food security next year is the issue of farmers accessing subsidized fertilizer. And I am quite startled by the situation in my constituency and across the country. As we speak, I'm told by farmers in my constituency that today you will have to pay 170 Ghana cedis for a bag of fertilizer in my constituency. I'm sure many of you have similar experiences in your constituencies, and the time for applying is elapsing. And so if, as a matter of urgent national interest, we summon the Minister for Agriculture to come and explain the crisis. I've also heard him on radio complaining about the Finance Minister who is not making funds available for him to pay backlog of fertilizer that has been supplied by input providers. So, Speaker, we are confronted with a major national crisis. Major. And if we don't take urgent steps as a parliament to address this issue, we will face challenge where tomorrow, when we are giving ourselves cars, farmers will rise up because they feel that when it is their matter, we don't treat it with the urgency and seriousness that is warranted. I don't think that they are against us having cars, but they also want to see that when we have issues that concern them, we deal with them effectively. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to know whether the leader is considering bringing the two ministers here to deal with such important national matters. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Adaku.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, my first concern is about the time sitting starts in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, this has been an issue of concern to members of Parliament and the public. We are told one of the reasons we start sitting at 2 o'clock is to give members who are supposed to be here ample time to prepare and come. Mr. Speaker, I am not aware we've ever started work at 2 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, I am concerned. I'm encouraging leaders to make sure when you say we start at 2 o'clock, let's start at 2 o'clock. If you say we start at 10, let's start at 10. We can't continue this way. The outlier could be that there's a reason we can't sit at 2 o'clock on 1 or 2 occasions. But this cannot be the reasons. If you want us to start sitting at 5 p.m., then let's start at 5 p.m. But tell me to come to work at 2 o'clock and I turn up at 1:30 and you don't start. Mr. Speaker, I don't feel comfortable about it. Today we started after 11 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, the second thing is I filed a question to the Education Minister with respect to how many contractors were paid since the House granted 1.5 billion Ghana cedi dollars to the dollars to the GET fund to clear the arrears and new projects. That question was scheduled some weeks ago. All of a sudden, that question has vanished. I also filed a question to the Agric Minister as to whether the report of the Cocoa Road audit is ready and whether same can be made available to members of Parliament. That question has still been, is yet to be scheduled. Mr. Speaker, last week during the reading of the business statement, I raised an issue, Mr. Speaker. Everybody in this country is aware that COVID is beginning to spread again. The third wave, through the Delta variant, is spreading. When I raised the issue the last time, my respected colleague, the Deputy Majority Leader, said I should file a question. By the way, Mr. Speaker, the President used to give us weekly updates on COVID before the election. I know the COVID is still spreading. Can leadership make sure that when we resume somewhere next week, our colleague, the Health Minister, could apprise the House as to what the government is doing to increase or actually do more education and tell us how they are intending to combat this Delta variant, because the hospitals, we are told, are getting full again, Mr. Speaker. These are the three concerns I have to raise. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, honourable member for.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this week, on Wednesday, 14th July, the Minister for Education appeared before this House to answer questions numbered 61 and 62, as asked by Honourable Dr. Apak. Mr. Speaker, I know very well that answers to questions are provided by the Minister to the table office, and the answers are published in the order paper. Mr. Speaker, this morning on Joy FM, the Deputy Minister for Education, between the hours of 9 and 9:30 a.m., argued that the figures that were given by the Minister were not what was communicated to the table office. I see that as an indictment on the table office. Mr. Speaker, for the records, I wish that you ask the table office to make available to you and to members of the House the original correspondence from the Ministry of Education or from the Minister of Education for record purposes, for us to know whether the figures given by the Minister or the figures given by the Minister were different from what was published by the table office in the order paper for Wednesday, 14th July 2021. Thank you.
Honourable member, let me get the clarification. Are you saying that the Deputy Minister was saying something different from what the substantive Minister said here?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, on Joy FM this morning, he said the figures were less, what the figures he had or the ministry gave to table office were less than what was put in the order paper, and that the official report will show that those figures given in the order paper were not correct. That, Mr. Speaker, that's the issue.
Yes, Honourable Clement Apak.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to express my concerns regarding the tendency of admitted and advertised questions to disappear unceremoniously. Mr. Speaker, I was slated to have asked the Minister for Roads and Highways two very important questions today with regards to road networks in my constituency. The Speaker adequately prepared, adorning myself with my cheaply looking red hat. I got here very early enough to prepare, only to get a copy of today's order paper, peruse it, and to come to the disappointing conclusion that I was denied the opportunity to ask my questions today. The business statement for next week. The questions have again been slated for Friday, July 23rd, 2021. Mr. Speaker, this tendency is very worrisome, not only for us
but also for our constituents. We usually would convey to them and inform them that we are going to undertake these responsibilities on their behalf. Some make time to monitor parliamentary proceedings online. And so, when suddenly, without any explanation, questions that have been admitted and advertised disappear, that cannot be a good practice. And we ought to make this point and make it forcefully. Mr. Speaker, I wish to add my voice to the plea made by the Honorable Mama Yarga, particularly with regards to the national shortage of fertilizer. By and large, we are a country that depends on agriculture, peasant farming. My parents called me and asked me to do well to procure 10 bags of fertilizer from Accra and to send to them in Bolga so they can take that fertilizer to my village where they have a farm, Doninga, to go and apply. So clearly we have a challenge. So I would want to also appeal to the Deputy Majority Leader to use his good office to invite the Minister to come and address the House on this very important matter, because we are teetering on a potential national crisis. This is the farming season. There are timelines at which fertilizer can be applied, depending on the type of crops. And once those periods are over, even if one were to get the fertilizer and apply it, it becomes useless. So, Mr. Speaker, on this note, I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, I don't know. Your issue with respect to the ministers, I think the leader will address it. As far as I know, they've sought permission to be absent. So leader will address it. But let me take one, or you want to address those things before you come in? Okay, so Honorable, hold on. Let the leader address those concerns raised before he come back to you.
Mr. Speaker, my good friend, Honorable Apak, this week, I believe he's had 3 of his questions being answered. And he was also privileged to have caught the eye of Mr. Speaker to ask a few supplementary questions. Fortunately for him, the questions he complained about have been programmed for next week. Yeah, I share with him the concerns he raised about some of the delays. But, Mr. Speaker, if you see Friday, we've loaded Friday with a lot of questions for the Minister of Roads to come. You may recall that he was out of the jurisdiction on an official assignment, and the respect he has for the House, he wrote to inform us of that. So I'm pleading with you that the impression should not be created as though he deliberately decided to delay. Now, Mr. Speaker, on this matter of business committee, I have filed a question, and my question was not programmed. It is not in the hands of the business committee when you file a question. It doesn't come to us automatically. I will repeat what I said a week ago. When you file a question, Mr. Speaker, or even a statement, I will plead with colleagues, follow up. Go to the table office, be sure it's been transmitted. Follow up at the Speaker's office, be sure it's been admitted. You come to the floor to lament. For all you know, your question has not been admitted. Mr. Speaker, this morning, I think my senior colleague, Honorable Boyomi, applied some of these things that I talked about. And he was at the corridor. And when we were having the pre-sitting, he said, oh, he's come to you. So at least a reminder, there are a whole chunk of them. So I plead, don't sit and expect that once you are filed, it is automatic. And then it is a business committee, deputy majority leader, and then are you saying for mischief? You do that for mischief. Mr. Speaker, I'm hearing, not in the records, I'm hearing that they do that for mischief. I've heard. Mr. Speaker, and then they say it is a business committee. The business committee is made up of the leadership of the House and members. It is not a one-sided committee. So what we receive is what we act on. Mr. Speaker, the ranking member for Education Committee is drawing our attention to some inconsistencies in an answer given and what is being said on radio. Mr. Speaker, in this House, we rely on the records here. So if you want to put the minister's sincerity on the matter to the test, you file a question. Yes, or you take him on the floor. It doesn't come to business statement. That is not our matter. So, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member knows what to do, unless it was meant for some other effect. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kwame Agboja, my very good friend, in whom I'm well pleased. Mr. Speaker, he's talking about sitting time for today. As at the time Mr. Speaker was ready and we were ready, there wasn't the necessary quorum. There was no quorum. We couldn't somebody would have raised it. So don't say that members were here and leadership failed. It is not leadership that failed. We didn't have quorum. Yes, Honorable Ayariga and Honorable Apak, they want to know about the Agric Minister, whether we could program the Minister of Agric to come and address us on this issue of fertilizer. It's an important matter. But, Mr. Speaker, I also believe that they could utilize the other tools available. That may be swifter. If you file an urgent question, last week, some issues came up and said, program the minister. Sometimes if you file an urgent question, Mr. Speaker will deal with it. And then it can be part of the program. It can come in anytime. So I'll plead with you, whilst we making effort to get the minister program, an urgent question which will address specifically the matter would also help. Or you make a statement. And sometimes statements are referred to a committee to look at, or Mr. Speaker can make some orders to the minister, and that would also help. So I'm only putting that across. Explore that so that we can make progress as a House. Mr. Speaker, I believe I've exhausted all the points, save that Honorable Agboja is repeating what he put across last week. Between last week and now, if you had filed an urgent question, I'm sure it would have been part of this program. At least I'm your leader. I'm advising that if you file an urgent question, it will be faster. So if you feel strongly about this, please file an urgent question to be specific what you want the minister to tell the nation. On the aspect of the president failing to address us after elections, you and I know factually you are wrong. Mr. President, even after the election, has been addressing the nation. You and I know. You know. Yes, he's coaching all of us. He's been coaching all of us. He has to coach us. And I'll take your coaching in good faith. Sometimes they say you are an NDC, sometimes they say MPP. They throw up bread. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, on honorable conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it is my prayer that this business statement be adopted. Thank you.
Yes, honorable member for Northtown.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I note that after a rather arduous and tortuous and perilous campaign, the finance minister has finally been scheduled for Wednesday, 21st July, to answer the question on the president's recent luxury travels to France, Belgium, and South Africa. I hope that the finance minister will be candid, transparent, and unimpeachably sincere with the House after all of this rigmarole. But, Mr. Speaker, the issue about disappearing motions, I noticed that the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader has conveniently left out the Honorable Mahama Yariga's concern. His two motions Honorable Mahama Yariga raised. I want to also raise a third motion which has vanished from the business statement, which is the one advertised on numerous occasions on the Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited. I have a copy here, private member's motion, that this Honorable House constitutes a bipartisan committee to investigate the circumstances under which Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited was awarded a contract to conduct COVID-19 antigen testing at the Kotoka International Airport. The terms of the contract, the track record of Frontiers Healthcare Services Limited, the efficacy, safety, and reliability of the testing, and to make considerations for the consideration of the House. The sponsors are the Honorable Minority Leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Alhaji Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, my good self, Kwabna Minta Akando, Sebastian Sandere, Kwame Govins, Agboja, Dr. Market Nawani, and Ernest Henry Nogbe. This motion is no longer appearing in the business statements. And, Mr. Speaker, these are very, very important matters of enormous national interest. And we cannot accept this. I would want to find out from the Deputy Majority Leader exactly what is happening to these motions, this one and the other two that the Honorable Mahama Yariga raised. It's important that we pursue these matters. We notice that of all the motions that we have filed, there's only one on Sputnik V which is receiving attention. The proceedings are ongoing. We have enough members in this House. We are ready to work. We can have simultaneous hearings. We can have all these motions once they have been admitted. And we are inching closer to recess. We are ready to work, very ready to work. Sometimes we come here, as Honorable Agboja said, waiting for business. We start sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours late. If you had triggered this, we will be conducting hearings. So members are ready to work. These are matters that the general public is waiting for answers into. So we cannot just keep them in abeyance and they appear, then sometimes they vanish and they reappear and then they vanish. It's as if we are not committed. Let us show commitment, Mr. Speaker. The final issue, Mr. Speaker, relates to a rather strange, I don't know if it's an announcement or if it is a notice, and I don't know under what standing orders the Deputy Majority Leader was coming under. The Right Honourable Speaker has referred the petition from Honourable Alhaji Suhuyini Alhassan to the Privileges Committee, and that is the resolution of this House. We are being told today, that is the status, the decision of the Speaker, the ruling of the Speaker. Then the Deputy Majority Leader, who we know is a long-time counsel and lawyer of the Honourable Kennedy Jepon, is telling us today that, oh, let's prepare for some out-of-court settlement of a sort, you know, or out of Privileges Committee settlement. I mean, under what standing orders? is the Deputy Majority Leader giving us this announcement or serving this notice to the House. I mean, please, if you want to plead for your client, come properly and go and do that at the committee. But don't say that, oh, we would not have to go through that long. Who has complained about the process? We are ready to go through the length of that duration. And let's be careful we don't create the impression that some MPs, when the Speaker has referred, they are above that referral. He must go there and ensure that the decision of this House and the decision of Mr. Speaker is respected. So please, as for that, your notice, we reject it. We don't know how it is grounded. I think that it's important that we make that point very clear. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Kita.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, when you look at the country right now, Delta variant of COVID-19 is ravaging the country. And I have filed, almost 2 weeks now, I filed urgent question with regards to Minister of Health coming into the chamber to brief the members about the status of the Delta variant. And then up to now, when you look at the business statement, nothing of that sort have been appeared. So urgent questions are filed. So, Mr. Speaker, I will sought for your leave so that these questions come on the business statement for next week for the Minister of Health to come to the chamber and brief the members on Delta variant of COVID-19. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much.
Agoteme. You are from Agoteme, eh?
Wa East.
Then it means you are not speaking from your.
Yes, sir. Honourable Speaker, just with your kind indulgence.
Okay, you go on.
May I just say that the Honourable Deputy Majority Leader's response on filing urgent questions has to be looked at again. It appears the table office or the business committee, how you reconcile treating urgent questions is not satisfactory. On this issue about fertilizer that Honourable Mama Yarga and Honourable Clement Apak are talking about, I already filed an urgent question since last Wednesday, thinking that this would have been treated as an urgent issue. Even for next week's business statement, it's not captured. The same thing, 7 weeks ago, there was an EU announcement of issuing Ghana a yellow card, a warning card on fisheries activities, and the fact that we were likely to be banned from exporting seafood to the European Union. I filed an urgent question 5 weeks ago that the fisheries minister should come and show us what steps she's taking to address this. It's only now been captured for next week. That's after 6 weeks, and this is how you treat urgent questions. So the urgent questions route will not help. And so, Leader, we should change our mindset by asking members to go file questions and follow up. Then why do you set the system in place for us to file questions to table office and they process it to the Speaker? Then you might as well cancel the table office and tell us to file the questions and walk straight to the Speaker, catch his eye for him to minute on it. The system should work. You shouldn't expect us to file questions and then go and be asking table office, what is my question now? Why will we do that? If we do that, systems will not work in this country. And Parliament shouldn't be showing such an example. Let's allow the office to work. And then we can be able to address these issues for the nation. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Sauda.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make a few comments. Mr. Speaker, first of all, the call for the Minister in charge of Agri and Cocoa Affairs to come and address the House on the burning issue of shortages of fertilizers to farmers. We should also consider inviting the Minister of Interior Because, Mr. Speaker, as we speak, as a matter of national security policy, our borders remain closed. Now, Mr. Speaker, it therefore baffles all of us that even though our borders remain closed, the ministers of state, including the president himself at WAT 3 days ago, was complaining that drugs are being smuggled across the borders and was actually calling on the traditional leaders to come in and help to police the borders. So it is not a simplistic matter. And so I think that the Minister for Interior should also be invited, and I have filed an urgent question in that regard. Mr. Speaker, secondly, we have heard the Deputy Minister for Education grant interview to Joy FM and categorically say that the figures that were given to Parliament by his boss were wrong, and that they will take steps to come and correct it in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, if a stranger says this, we'll take it lightly. But this is coming from a colleague. And so it's a very serious matter regarding what sort of information are they feeding the minister to come and present to Parliament. Matters of figures concerning an amount of money the state paid in respect of a procurement should not be confusing officials. Unless, of course, we are being given figures that are not truthful or do not reflect the
Honourable Member, I think this particular issue, the leader has already addressed it. We will rely on the report of this House. So if you want to do something by challenging it, do the needful. Whether you bring the minister here to either come and confirm what he has given us, or whether what his deputy is saying outside is what we should rely on. I don't think we need to belabor this. Honourable Leader, can you address some of the concerns members have raised?
Mr. Speaker, the member for Why East, if I got it right, raised a matter in respect of urgent questions. If he has his standing orders, he may go with me to Order 66. And I wouldn't read the content. Pay attention to Order 66. If you pay attention to Order 66, you will not blame the Business Committee. 2, please engage your leadership, especially your whips, to assist so that you don't come to the House floor to blame the Business Committee. That is all I want to say in response to your blame game. It's not proper with respect to your honorable colleague. Mr. Speaker, the motions that require reprogramming, I am only holding forth. I'm holding the fort now. But I know, as a matter of fact, that the two leaders, the majority leader and his colleague, the minority leader, agreed to deal with this matter. So it's entirely in their hands. I would urge you, Honorable Ayerga and Honorable Ablakwa, to engage the two leaders. And once they engage them and, the appropriate responses are given, I'm sure their concerns will be addressed. Mr. Speaker, the issue of Honorable Suhini's application, which application was granted, I only referred to it that it has not been programmed. There hasn't been a meeting scheduled for next week for the Privileges Committee because the referral did not get to business committee. I just wanted to allay the fears of members who are anxious to see the the privileges committee working. And I only added that notwithstanding, as a house, if a matter of this nature has arisen, I am in leadership and I should engage my colleague. I made that statement in good faith. But I find it strange that every step taken in good faith would be misconstrued, particularly by Honorable Ablaka. Mr. Speaker, he was in this house when Sami Jemfi attacked the Speaker of Parliament and attacked his leadership. He did not respond to it, neither did he even get up to protect the image of Mr. Speaker and Harun Edrusu and Muntaka Mubarak. Is this a principle? This is very rich. Sit down. It's very rich. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that he should appreciate the angle I came from. I did so in good faith that, yes, something has happened. Honorable Kennedy Japan, who is a member of this side, has been engaged, and I wanted to assure this house, because the member said it affects the integrity of us, and I was assuring the house that we are taking positive steps, and perhaps we may even resolve ahead of time. Lawyers are here, they know out of court settlement. Sometimes you resolve before the scheduled date of the matter, and the court will accept it. Mr. Speaker, I'm invoking the inherent jurisdiction of Mr. Speaker, which is also part of our rules. He's invoking his inherent jurisdiction is part of the rules. Look at Order 6 and 8. Read down there. Is there? Read it. Where the matter is not provided, Mr. Speaker will direct. He has so admitted. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the relevant issues have been addressed, and I will pray that since today is Friday, our Muslim colleagues want to go and pray. We should adopt this business committee report and proceed.
Yes. Before we adopt, let me listen to
Thank you.
Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to re-emphasize on the matter raised by Honorable Mama Yariga. The rendition given by the Deputy Majority Leader is right. The Speaker directed that the two leaders should engage on the security-related motions to be able to assist him to manage well. So as they are not here, we must wait for them to come. And I know they've not finished engagement. That is why they've not been able to reach out to the individual members. Then,
it's not about teaching. It's not about teaching.
Because this is not teaching, it's information.
Yeah.
When the leaders finish engagement, they will reach out to the members. And that is what I mean. Mr. Speaker, I know the Speaker did that because security-related motions are very sensitive. There was a motion here and a counter motion here. And I remember that even when we are discussing some security-related issues, we do them under Order 44. That's strictly closed sitting, so that certain things don't go out. So let's have confidence in the two leaders. When they return from CPA, after their engagement, they will reach out to us. Then, Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the fertilizer shortage or something issue, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Mama Yariga has filed an urgent motion to the Agri Minister, which is appropriate. Urgent question, which is appropriate. But, Mr. Speaker, we are in the farming season. Filing the urgent question to the Agri Minister might not be able to solve the problem. And, Mr. Speaker, if he can direct another question to the Minister for Finance, simply because, Mr. Speaker, this urgent question will take a time to be admitted, then he will have to come and answer. And if the answer happens that, oh, I'm not the cause, I'm waiting on the Finance Minister, then you have to now file another urgent question to the finance minister. So once the deputy majority leader directed that the Honorable Mama Yariga should make use of the tools available to him, I urge that today he must file another urgent question to the Minister for Finance, so that it doesn't become a blame game. Oh, I could have bought, it's because he hasn't released money. Let's exhaust, let's go all out, so that we'll be able to get results. With these few comments, Mr. Speaker, I thank you and want to appeal to you that you move that we adopt the business statement for the day.
Thank you very much. Well noted. Honorable members, the business statement as presented is hereby adopted. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with your leave, may we proceed to item 7B and C.
Yes, item number 7, page 3 on today's other paper.
Report of the representative of the Parliament of Ghana to the ECOWAS Parliament on the first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament held in Abuja, Nigeria, from 27th May to 12 June 2021.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honourable members. 7C.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Abeji has forgotten our friendship.
Our leader, you should have stopped. Leave.
Mr. Speaker, Chairman of the committee is unavoidably absent. Would it please you that I lay the paper on his behalf?
Leave granted.
The Speaker, by the rules, if he's a member of the committee, he can do that. If he's not a member of the committee, any member of the committee in the House can do that. The Speaker, there are new members, and if you don't go by the rules, things become messed up. And if you don't go by rules and procedure, the Speaker, maintaining order in the House in future may become chaotic. Any member in the House can lay the report on behalf of the chairman.
Well. So,
Mr. Speaker, I so concede he's right.
Yes.
But Mr. Speaker, today is Friday, the 16th of July. May posterity guide us on these strict principles. I've taken notes. Mr. Speaker, I withdraw my application, and the Honorable Domprew, who is a member of the committee, with your leave, will do so. I'm not a member of the committee. He's right. But we'll be guided by your strict directives.
Well. Honorable member, the leave is granted. You can lay the paper.
Report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs on the Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and the Government of the United Arab Emirates on mutual exemption of entry visa requirements in respect of diplomatic service, special and ordinary passport holders.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honorable members. Yes, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, may we proceed to item 17, please?
Come again.
17.
17.
Yes, please.
So that's the private members bill. Page number 11. Item number 17, private members bill. Yes. Who is moving? Okay.
Speaker, before I move the motion, I'll seek your leave for the debate to be deferred to Wednesday. Speaker, if it so pleases you, because we have engaged.
Leader, I didn't hear what he said.
I'm seeking your leave for the debate to be moved to Wednesday.
So you move the motion, but the debate is deferred.
The debate deferred to Wednesday.
Very well. Is it?
Mr. Speaker, he can move the motion, and if it is seconded, then we defer the debate to Wednesday. So we continue the debate on Wednesday. He's right.
Very well. You can now move the motion.
Speaker, I rise to move that this Honorable House passes a law to mainstream and streamline corporate social responsibility, CSR, in Ghana to ensure a cogent, equitable, and sustainable national development. I so move.
Yes, who is second? Honorable member for South Diet.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, the motion has been moved and it has been seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. However, we are deferring the debate of this all-important debate to Wednesday. So members, especially the sponsors of you can go and prepare well so that Wednesday you can come and debate it. Leader.
Say something about it.
Mr. Speaker, the motion has been moved and seconded by my colleague on the other side. Per the rules, the mover of the motion, if he wanted to make an application that he will move the motion and defer his comments to comment on it on Wednesday, he should have stated that. And the honorable member seconding it, if he also wish that he will second the motion and comment on it, defer his comments on another, should have also stated that. Without doing that, Tuesday when we come, Wednesday when we come, the mover has not stated anything in relation to that. He has also not done that. The debate may become a bit problematic. So if you may do so, we are masters of our own rules. We can give them the opportunity to do so.
Very well. Honorable Leader, I think before the motion was moved, this issue of deferring the debate to Wednesday came up. So that is why probably he didn't include his motion. But whatever it is, the mover can still come up on Wednesday to, so I don't think it's an issue at all. So on Wednesday, we know that the motion has been moved and has been seconded.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I think the point that the Deputy Whip was putting across was to the effect that he wants the record to reflect that the mover of the motion reserves his right to argue his motion. In addition to, so he's deferring that right until Wednesday. So he's moved, but he was supposed to give a supporting argument to his motion. Same applies to my respected colleague who seconded the motion.
Honorable Leader, I think we are all on the same page. Wednesday, he will be allowed to argue out his case. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, statements.
Yes. Honorable members, we have to take a couple of statements before we adjourn. And the first statement I will take is in the name of a member for Southton, Honorable Kwabena Woyomi, on the recent spate of football hooliganism in Ghana. Honorable member, I may take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to make this statement on the spate of hooliganism in football in the country. Mr. Speaker, it is disheartening to wake up in the morning to hear that a sporting official or football lover has sustained injuries because of doing what he loves at the stadium. It is about time this issue is addressed once and for all, given the fact that we all agree on the role of football in uniting us and promoting productivity for national development. Mr. Speaker, permit me to quote Terry Pratchett, an English author, and I quote, "The important thing about football is that it's not just about football. It transcends our differences in where we come from and what defines us." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, football, like any other sport, provides many benefits. Economic benefits for nations and individuals. It has fostered unity among nations and dealt a little blow to the things that divide us, along racial, gender, and in particular ethnic lines. That which once was an all-men game now has active female enthusiasts. However, the game we all cherish has not been without challenges, and the most serious one, which threatens the beauty of the game, is what we call football hooliganism. Football hooliganism, Mr. Speaker, refers to what is widely considered unruly or obstructive behavior by overzealous supporters of the game. Actions such as vandalism, brawling, and intimidation are enacted by association football club fans participating in football. It occurs in different levels and sometimes involve football players who are to show sportsmanship. It is interesting to note that in some instances, Mr. Speaker, hooliganism occurs even outside sports stadia. This could be that even off the pitch, the lives of others as well as their properties can be in danger. It is this reason, most especially, Mr. Speaker, that makes hooliganism a delicate issue which requires every amount of effort that can be built to fight it. Mr. Speaker, football hooliganism has a long history. It dates as far back as the 1880s, where instances of football hooliganism were recorded in England. It was a period where gangs of supporters would intimidate neighborhoods, in addition to attacking referees, opposing supporters, and players. However, in the era of globalization, Mr. Speaker, I expect, if not completely eliminated, it should not be at the rate that we are witnessing. Mr. Speaker, It is in the face of the seriousness of this matter that at the international level, issues relating to hooliganism are regarded a threat to life and tackled with all seriousness. The police and other security agencies have been introduced to the game of football to control crowds by ensuring that their presence in stadia are felt by fans. It is important, however, to note that in dispatching the police to ensure safety in various stadia internationally, the noble intent surrounding such dispatches has not been enough in preventing riotous tendencies from emerging. This means Ghana needs to consider the best methods that have a good psychological plea and is well advanced in our approach to dealing with hooliganism, while effectively forestalling counterproductive and unintended consequences. Football hooliganism is a global problem, although some countries like the United Kingdom have drastically reduced their occurrence because of measures put in place. One of the serious outcomes of hooliganism, Mr. Speaker, was in 2012, where the fans of the two major clubs in Egypt, El Masri and El Ali, clashed after a league match, which resulted in an estimated number of 79 fans killed. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is no exception when it comes to hooliganism. Football violence has been with us since the sport was professionalized in the late 19th century. The phenomenon has continued, and the worst instance has been the stadium disaster, which occurred on May 9th, 2001 at the Accra Sports Stadium, when Accra House of Hope hosted Kumasi Asante Kotoko in a Premier League game. This single incident, Mr. Speaker, on this gruesome day led to the death of 127 people, which remains the worst stadium disaster in African history. Hereafter dubbed the Black Wednesday, unquote. Mr. Speaker, traces of hooliganism after the Black Wednesday can repeatedly go on, not forgetting the incident of a female referee reportedly being beaten by fans in a women's special competition in Sunyani, who were aggrieved at the lack of added time like they expected. The match between the Asante Kotoko and Brekum, Chelsea, also recorded violence on the 28th April 2019. With the very recent violence between Brong Ahafo United FC and Real Tamale United FC at Sunyani Coronation Park during the Division 1 League on the 4th July 2021. According to research, Mr. Speaker, most occurrences of hooliganism have been influenced by alcohol, peer pressure, player behavior, unexpected results, referees' judgment, gambling, and many others. The effects and damage brought upon us by hooliganism are often irreparable. These effects include loss of lives, damage to properties, injuries, and renders victims disabled, loss of interest in the game, which drastically reduces revenue derived from sporting events, etc. Mr. Speaker, some countries like the United Kingdom have put measures such as stiff prison sentences to clamp down hooligans, which is helping to fight or reduce the occurrences of the menace. In Ghana, the Ghana Football Association has pursued some anti-hooligan measures, including banning items that could be used as weapons or missiles at the stadium, banning opposing fans from matches, and ordering specific matches to be played behind closed doors, increasing prices of alcohol at the stadium. As a matter of fact, some clubs have been banned from home games, and some officials suspended. Mr. Speaker, these have done very little in preventing the menace from growing. It is important that we adopt tougher punishments, such as banning perpetrators for life, and where necessary, long-term imprisonment and hefty fines to serve as deterrents to others. Mr. Speaker, I concede that hooliganism may not be completely eradicated in any immediate time. Nonetheless, we can do something to reduce such occurrences. I therefore suggest that there should be a private members' bill to address football offences and disorders, safety of sports grounds, sporting events, control of alcohol, etc., to keep hooligans far from the game we all love to watch and away from corrupting the game that has tirelessly united us and enabled us to pursue national development. I want to end by calling on all MPs, the media, civil societies, the police, and all football lovers to come together to fight against hooliganism, to uphold the values enshrined in the game. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Honourable members, I will admit 2 contributors from each side, including leadership. So, yes, honourable member for NABDA.
Thank you,
Honourable members, please be snappy.
Yeah, I want to commend the maker of the statement for his well-researched work. Honourable Speaker, I have been a victim of football hooliganism. I have been beaten before. I have been chased before. On 1 or 2 occasions, the police has to whisk me from Adanso Praso to Asim Praso, where there's a police station, for my own safety, because I was the owner of Dunko United Football Club. And during very important matches, I used to follow them. It is indeed a very big problem in Ghana football, especially at the lower levels. That is the 2nd division and the 1st division clubs. They always beat each other. And it is not reported probably because they try to settle it among themselves. But Mr. Speaker, this issue is not going beyond that level. It's even coming to a premier level. And all this problem between Kotoko and House and Olympics, etc., are due to these assault cases. And so, currently, I know the measures that are usually taken. Well, you either pay a fine, or they are saying that we should arrest the fans and prosecute them. All these are good measures, but it is not enough. What I've realized is that most often, the home team that is supposed to provide the protection, because they know what they are going to do, they usually invite less number of policemen. So I am advocating that protection of fans, protection of the game, should be the responsibility of the state. When I say the responsibility of the state, it should be the state that should define the number of policemen for a particular game. But if you leave it in the hands of those clubs, usually they invite few people because they are playing home. They are beneficiaries whenever these hooligans misbehave. And so they don't do the right thing. And we know that in Ghana football, when you lose your home match, it's equivalent to preparing to be relegated. So everybody wants to win the whole match. And that is where the problem lies. So I'm appealing to the state, to the government of Ghana, that if they like or they want football to move to the next step, they should take over the security. In a game, they should define the nature of the game, how many policemen should be there, how many soldiers should be there, and then provide the number. That is the way forward. And not leave it to the clubs that you are playing home. So once you are playing home, you should arrange for the security. That is simply not enough. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member for Sunyani East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by our colleague on the other side on this important but also vexed issue of hooliganism in our sports, especially football. More or less, hooliganism has become a universal phenomenon. It happens everywhere in the world. Last week or so, after the match between England and Italy, we saw the fans of England going to the extreme of attacking supporters of the Italian national team. And it has happened in almost all the divisions that we organize, football divisions we organize in this country. Second division, first division, and even in the premiership. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement alluded to several incidents of acts of hooliganism that have happened over the years in Ghana. In the recent league ongoing, both Premier, First Division and Second Division, acts of hooliganism have been recorded. Mr. Speaker, we may have to inquire into the causes, the real causes, instead of either blaming the visiting team or the host team. It may go beyond a host team being angered, being frustrated, wanting to win a match at all costs, and therefore taking the law into their own hands and visiting some harm or hate on referees, officials, or the visiting team. Mr. Speaker, I'm a fan of the BA United, an ardent supporter of BA United. Recently, we played RTU in Sunyani. The match never ended. I would want everybody to see the performance of the referee, the man in the middle of the game. He denied BA United 2 or 3 legal penalties. He awarded a penalty to the visiting team. And the match commissioner and others officials who were not on the field drew his attention to the fact that the penalty he awarded was doubtful. So he reversed it. And the match continued. At the end of the first half, the referee says it was getting late, darkness was falling, and because there are no floodlights on the field, the match will continue the following day. And there was no show for the following day. And this fact was communicated by the match commissioner to GFA. Mr. Speaker, barring the fact that supporters will want to see their teams win, and therefore, if they are not winning, they become angry and frustrated and probably do certain untoward things, we should, as a matter of fact, also advise, counsel match officials to do what is right. Whilst you caution the cat from pouncing on the fish, you also advise the fish not to give a bad audio to attract the cat. Mr. Speaker, I think we need also to improve the security on match days, so that even if you are being cheated, you will still have cause to lodge a complaint. You don't have to take the law into your own hands and do what is not right to be done. We have to improve security on the field of play, and we must also continue to advise or talk to the fans of the various teams to exercise maximum restraint, even in the face of any provocation or cheating that goes on. You still have the right. But, Mr. Speaker, unless the GFA stamps its authority, some of these occurrences will continue to happen. What do we do to referees who cheat, leading to such incidents? You impose a sanction of, let's say, 2-3 match bans. How much do we pay the referees for officiating a match? If you pay the referee, I'm assuming, 100 Ghana cedis for officiating a match, and after an incident, you decide to suspend the referee for 4 matches, he or she loses 400 Ghana cedis. That is not motivating enough. Because if the referee thinks that he takes a bribe of 5,000 Ghana cedis from a team, and you suspend him or her for even 10 matches, he or she is better off. And if GFA will make it a point that if the performance of the referee wasn't good, leading to the disturbances, there will be a replay, then it will also demotivate the referees for taking bribes. Because if you take a bribe and your match has to be replayed, and a different referee is allowed to officiate the game, it will be a disgrace upon yourself as a referee, as a match official. So we need to put in place very stringent measures and mechanisms to ensure that there is always sanity on the fields. Football is the passion and the soul of Ghana. So it is for so many other countries, and we need to protect the sanctity of it. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, let me give the opportunity to Honorable Utibres.
For giving me the opportunity to add my voice to this all-important statement. Mr. Speaker, football hooliganism all over the world is a serious challenge. But, Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding, I think that the level of indiscipline in our country is becoming unbecoming. Mr. Speaker, we all know for a fact that football, among all the sporting disciplines, is the heartbeat of our country. But what is happening at the various stadiums across the country over the years, if not checked, will throw this country off gear soon. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy the maker of the statement touched on what happened on May 9th. I was in the stadium that day. And I wish we were all at the park that day to see what really happened. Mr. Speaker, I want to call on this House and the authorities of our sporting discipline, especially football, GFA, to put proper measures in place to check this canker. Because I think that the sanctions set out for those who flout these rules is not enough. Or the fact that a referee has committed a mistake doesn't give you the audacity to go throw yourself or jump into the field and misbehave and start attacking and destroying state properties. So I think that proper disciplinary measures ought to be put in place to ensure that what happened in Sunyani recently, if it happens again, the team or the supporters of the club or the club should be severely punished. That is, for instance, if the club should be banned forever from playing at home grounds. I think that will serve as a deterrent to other clubs who may want to indulge in that act in future. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end by thanking the maker of this statement, that it is an important statement, because football all over the world, we all know, apart from gold and other drugs, football, sporting industry, or football in particular, is an area where there's a lot of money. Our young guys all over the country, especially in my constituency, we have a lot of good players, talented players. Our youth today are making it a lot through football. So we cannot sit down as leaders of the country to allow the lawless ones destroy this beautiful game. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you for the opportunity to contribute. Thank you so much.
I'll come to leadership. So, a leader, you may yield yours to.
Mr. Speaker.
Have you yielded? Should I call?
Mr. Speaker, I'll just make a few comments. Unless because there are... Okay. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make a few comments on this all-important statement. Mr. Speaker, growing up in the village, I witnessed some of these football hooligans in the village, which were occurring due to poor officiating. Mr. Speaker, now I'm a bit old, and I could see it happening even in our Premier League and on the international scale. Mr. Speaker, I remember in those days in the village, a football referee could shout at a player, "Go to the penalty line, I want penalty for you." Then you would think that he was fighting the player. Meanwhile, he was directing him to support him. After awarding a penalty kick, the player just got to the inner perimeter and died. Then he said, penalty. Then the opposing team came to the referee. Then he said, when I whistle, did I talk? In the village, does referee speak after whistling? Mr. Speaker, if you recruit referees in this manner, why would then there be hooliganism? Then when the two teams came to the referee, then what is the issue? He said, oh, it is a dent ball. Then he dent it and they started playing. So he couldn't succeed in awarding the penalty kick. The one that Honorable MP for Sunyani has talked about in Sunyani, it's not the first time. There was a football match between BA United and in Sunyani, Mr. Speaker, the referee awarded a penalty kick. He was beaten. He has to be dressed in police uniform before they could take him from the Sunyani Coronation Park outside the park. Mr. Speaker, what kind of penalty was that? Have you ever seen a penalty kick that after being shot and
the referee said, oh, this thing is an offside. Penalty offside. Why would the fans not react? You say it's a penalty kick. It is not a goal, then you say no. It's an offside. When the penalty was being kicked, this player was standing here for fear of being beaten. The most recent one, Mr. Speaker, was a decisive match, which, when BA United scores, then Bofakwa will qualify to the Premier League. If RTU scores, then they will qualify to the Premier League. They came very late from Tamale. Now, Speaker, such a decisive match, you have to come on time. How can you move from Tamale to Sunyani around between 4 and 5, that you are coming to play such a decisive match? Then, a decisive match, then you say, oh, because there is no time, let's play 45 minutes today. We break. Tomorrow we come and continue the 45 minutes. What kind of country are we? This is what happened. And Mr. Speaker, have you seen a penalty that is being reversed? It's a penalty. You've awarded it. We'll beat you. The match official said, reverse it. I've reversed it. Which fans, Mr. Speaker, will sit down for such things to happen? Mr. Speaker, all the analogies I'm just drawing your attention to is just for the nation to sit down and decide for ourselves, what do we want from our football matches? Those days, it used to create friendship, entertainment, the love, and all those things. But now it has become business. And wherever profit exists, there is anger, there is tension, there is pressure. So as a nation, if you want to go back to our glory days, where Ghana used to be a football country, where we used to win trophies, where players used to hold on the ball and we go to the stadium to watch them, Mr. Speaker, we must train the referees as well. Because I can say that all the football hooliganism that we talk about are emerging out of poor officiating. And I started drawing examples from my olden days. Mr. Speaker, when I was young. So clearly, poor officiating is the cause of our football hooliganism and lack of training and exercising. Our players want the reward in football, but they don't want to exercise and train. Go to the extent that football players train. So if we want the best for our country, we must know those who are recruited to officiate in our football matches. And when there are sensitive matches to be played, certain places should not be declared as a no-go area for other things. That when I'm coming to play football in your constituency, I'm afraid because it is your home, you must win. Whatever, if you are going to play international match, is that your home? That underscores the very reason why Ghana, we have not been able to win some trophies after years of the 5 continental trophies that we have been able to win. So clearly, Mr. Speaker, is a good statement coming from the veteran chairman and ranking member for the Youth and Sports Committee, Honorable Kobra Mensah Woyomi, who from the day he entered, he has been chairing this committee and he's still chairing it. So when he's bringing the examples, you could know that he has the experience and expertise in that area. Thank God you are still there to be giving us these examples, but help us to solve it. With these few comments, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Speaker, let me also commend the ranking member, even though I regret the fact that the leadership of the committee, that is my sincere observation, could have done better, especially in the context of oversight over the ministry, of which the GFA is a sub-body that serves under the ministry. So going into the future, it should be clear to us that the GFA should be taken on. The GFA that is under the ministry should be taken on. Speaker, I don't want to belabor the point. And my senior colleague, the Honorable Chairman, made an interesting observation, which I find very intriguing. That he says, a decision, a live match, a decision made by the referee has to be reversed as a result of some compulsion and force coming from the fans. I find this quite historic and revealing as well. It tells also the extent of decadence. I mean, the extent to which our football has degenerated. And therefore, it's a good wake-up call to all the players for us to do what we have to do. Speaker, it is scandalous that even after May 9th, the dreaded May 9th, even after May 9th, people are still emboldened to engage in football hooliganism. There must be some significant cost to it. From where I sit, the costs are varied and married. We all are aware football hooliganism globally dates way back if you check the history. Way back in the 13th century, it's been happening, especially in England. But even with all the measures put in place at those so-called developed jurisdictions and settings, it's still happening. What it means is that we can't absolutely absolve ourselves. And so moving forward, if we want to come atop the situation and control it better, we must do something more than what we are doing. Speaker, it found space in the European Parliament in recent times. Strong, dedicated debate on how to stop football hooliganism. So, not to belabor the point, we are aware of the existence of GFA, disciplinary committee. To what end? These things are happening. And so we want to appeal to the minister, the sector minister, young and enterprising minister for youth and sports, to bring some leadership to bear in this whole sporting enterprise. We cannot allow things to go the way they are going. Otherwise, we all risk the danger associated. But before I sit, I'm told that there's an investigation ongoing. Investigation into the recent happenings. Brown United and Rare Tamale United. Not to prejudice the outcome. I think the GFA and the ministry may have to collaborate. Speaker, we are Committee on Youth and Sports to ensure that we come out in terms of measures to overhaul this sector and what we can do to reduce the extent of hooliganism happening in our country. For me, it's a disgrace. I saw footage of a referee, a whole mass of people coming after a referee to beat him to pulp. And nothing has happened ever since. It's quiet as if, it's business as usual. It cannot be the situation. So, Speaker, I will employ your kind indulgence, if it pleases you, to give some directives, especially the leadership shown by the ranking member and the chair of the committee, to collaborate with the minister, work closely with the GFA, and put in place measures. Because as I intimated, even in Europe and other European countries, England, where very good measures are out there, the variable, there control over the variables, it's happening day in, day out. So we cannot go to sleep. And I think if we're able to do this, we'll have some good control, and then we can enjoy our football again. Speaker, thank you for the space. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. We will take the last statement, because today is Friday. And the last statement is on Youth Skills Day, which actually is a commemorative statement by Honorable Member for New Edbiasi, Abdul Salam Adams. Honorable Member, may take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a commemorative statement on World Youth Skills Day. Mr. Speaker, on July 15th every year, the world celebrates World Youth Skills Day to highlight the opportunities and challenges that young people face in employment. The day also allows us to reflect on the strategic importance of equipping young people with skills for employment, decent work, and entrepreneurship. Since its inception in 2014, the World Youth Skills Day has provided a unique opportunity for dialogue between young people, technical and vocational education and training TVET institutions, firms, employers and workers, organizations, policymakers, and development partners. Mr. Speaker, this year's World Youth Skills Day, under the theme Skills for Resilient Youth, would occur in a challenging environment with the COVID-19 pandemic still distracting the TVET institutions. Youth skills development will face a range of unfamiliar problems emerging from a crisis where training has been disrupted in an unprecedented manner on a virtually universal scale. Mr. Speaker, young people aged 15 to 24 are particularly exposed to the socioeconomic consequences of these disruptions. 1/3 of the world's 1.8 billion young people are currently not employed, educated, or trained. Of the 1 billion more that will enter the job market in the next decade, only 40% are expected to get job offers that currently exist. Thus, the global economy would need to create 6 million jobs in the next 10 years to keep pace with projected youth unemployment rates. Mr. Speaker, the youth make up about 30% of Ghana's population, with about 12% youth unemployment rate, according to a World Bank report. In 2016, it was projected that 300,000 new jobs would have to be created each year to absorb the increasing number of unemployed young people in the country. Mr. Speaker, TVET has a vital role to play in fostering the resilience of young people in Ghana. Specifically, vocational and technical education is a vehicle that can provide practical education in order to make graduates employable. It can also equip graduates to set themselves in business and become employers in the future. The challenge, however, is that, Mr. Speaker, the availability of TVET institutions to provide quality skills training is lacking from the supply side. At the same time, from the demand side, many young people do not find TVET attractive due to the negative stigma attached to it, especially in Ghana. This situation has affected the enrollment of students into TVET programs in Ghana and in many African countries. In Ghana, for instance, Mr. Speaker, the current admission into National Vocational Training Institute stands around 4,000 annually, while enrollment is about 11,000. Mr. Speaker, with proper packaging, we can significantly improve enrollment into the TVET sector. Mr. Speaker, it's refreshing, however, to note that the conversion of our polytechnics into technical universities was a shot in the arms of the TVET sector, as it enhanced the image of TVET in the country. Mr. Speaker, 85% of the stakeholders in the TVET sector are from the informal sector. Thus, the role of the national Thus, the role of the informal sector in providing technical skills training should not be underestimated. The government must therefore take necessary steps to regulate the sector to ensure standardization in the training delivery. Mr. Speaker, when young men and women are empowered with skills they need for working life, they thrive. They can also support themselves, their families, and their communities. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that youth unemployment is an urgent and complex challenge affecting our society and the economy. As Mr. Speaker indicated the other day, it is a national security threat, as there is a clear link between unemployment and crime. To address these critical issues, Mr. Speaker, government must prioritize TVET as an instrument to produce the first and middle level of technicians to be the bedrock of industry and promote entrepreneurship for employment generation. We need to sensitize people about the importance of TVET, as it can go a long way to remove the negative stigma people have about TVET. The quality of TVET must be improved to make it attractive to young people. We must get the industry involved in TVET and influence curricular instructions and upgrading of facilities. The government must facilitate the implementation of the National Apprenticeship Policy, which is supported by the British Council and seeks to regulate the informal sector. Mr. Speaker, with a weak transition from basic to secondary school education due to significantly increased primary enrollment and completion rates against limited space at the secondary level in the country, TVET provides the option for many young people with basic education to acquire a hand-on employment skills to facilitate the acquisition of job in the labor market. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, I will admit 2 contributors for each side, including leadership. Yes, Honorable Member for Medina.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this statement by Honorable Abdul Salam Adams. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to use the opportunity to congratulate my brother for bringing this to the fore. It is important for us to realize as a people that grammar education has no answer to the unemployment situations that we have in Ghana today. The only way we can resolve the problem of unemployment, particularly youth unemployment, is to get as many of our young people into entrepreneurship, which requires specific skills, whether it is in hairdo, or it is in carpentry, or it is in auto mechanics, any form of skills that allows our young people to master their own art and to create jobs for themselves. Right, Honorable Speaker, the only way we can achieve this is through TVET. And that is why it is important for the government to place utmost importance on technical and vocational skills and their training. And not only at the basic and secondary level, but also at the tertiary levels. I want to challenge government, Right Honorable Speaker. In the last 4 years, how much has government committed to vocational and technical institutions in this country? I had an opportunity to be in Ho Technical University and Koforidua Technical University in the last 1 month. And right now, Mr. Speaker, it is so amazing that some projects, some dormitories, some buildings that started way back have been abandoned. And these institutions are lacking the requisite infrastructure to develop. The only way we can change the narrative is to look at funding, look at personnel, and look at infrastructure. And in all these three areas, I want to encourage the government to pay closer attention so that we can change the narrative of Tibet in order to create jobs for our teeming youth. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement.
Yay. Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Member for.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on a very wordy statement. Mr. Speaker, we are all aware of the role that young people, youth, play as an engine of oiling society and indeed to keep it going. Mr. Speaker, we also agree that if you look at the age bracket as captured in the statement, 15 to 24, some of the critical challenges they face, for which many of us have sleepless nights, is the ability to engage them positively. Particularly so is in the area of employment. Mr. Speaker, day in, day out, as members of Parliament, we receive requests. We are bombarded with demands from our constituents, particularly young people. There are those of them who have an education. There are those of them who don't have the needed skills, although educated, to be able to engage themselves in a meaningful way of providing for themselves and their families. Mr. Speaker, that is why it is important that as a nation we work assiduously to ensure that technical and vocational education becomes dominant and common. Mr. Speaker, it is precisely for this reason that under the John Dramani Mahama administration, a conscious effort was made to convert our polytechnics to technical universities as part of a grander agenda to enhance technical and vocational education. Mr. Speaker, we took a look at best practices in parts of the world, particularly Germany, and we looked in the sub-region, and the conclusion was that many of the artisans who come to work for us in Ghana are persons with technical and vocational education from our neighboring countries. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, our tiles, our roofs, our plumbing, even jewelry, all these are products of technical and vocational education. And yet, in Ghana, it is as though we have relegated this very important component of the system to the background, to the extent that it has been confined and it has been defined to look as though it is those who are less intelligent, it is those who are not capable of formal education as we know it, who should become technicians, who should engage in vocations. Mr. Speaker, even this mic, this table, these chairs, all these are products of the technical aspects of human endeavor. So I wish to add my voice to the call that we should work assiduously, particularly to remove the stigma associated with technical and vocational education. And we should work to make sure that there are institutions across the length and breadth of the country to cater to the education of those sons and daughters of ours who are naturally talented, who are very creative and can do a lot to produce for us what we need so that they can also just get employment for themselves, but we will cease to become an import-dependent country. On this note, I commend the maker of the statement very highly.
Yes, Leader.
Speaker, at the risk of being repetitive, let me say that I agree with many of the things our colleagues have alluded to, particularly the maker of the statement and my good friend. Fact be told, Ghana as a country, irrespective of regimes, we've shown some significant overtures towards ensuring the development of TVET. If you look at the budget statement, it runs through the last budget, for instance. It is clear and it's there. Consistently, we've shown commitment, financial commitment being made towards it. But from where I sit, I think we need to go beyond just the provisions in the budget. We have to go beyond that. Because I find this quite fundamental and reasonable. Have we asked ourselves if we have generated the interest? The Ghanaian youth and the Ghanaian people, have we been able to, alongside the budget provision, stage a good crusade that is complementing the provision of just budget? It's important. Because if you provide the funding and the people don't even have the interest in it, everybody is focused on formal education. To sit in an office, that is the mindset, and we must work on that mindset. Otherwise, such statements, such appeals may not yield and elicit that needed response. We won't get it. So there should be a dedicated effort to generate that interest amongst the youth. That is not all about formal education. And it is when we do that, that we can be sure of a guaranteed positive response. The Americans call it hands-on education. America is where it is today because of hands-on education. And my colleague cited Germany. Yes. I recall then candidate Akufo-Addo made it very clear that Ghana will buy into the TVET concept of the Germans. And lo and behold, if you look at the budget of the Ministry of Education in recent times, dramatic increment, and it's been consistent. But I concede that it cannot just be the case of budget provision. Let's complement the efforts of budget provision with real, dedicated efforts to stage a good crusade to elicit the interest among the youth, and that ultimately we can be guaranteed and assured of a very positive response. But that notwithstanding, I want to commend the maker of the statement, and probably, Speaker, before I conclude, probably, if we appreciate this to be this important, this concept of TVET, entrepreneurial skills of the youth, why don't we dedicate a line budget in our statutory payment? Imagine all MPs, it's just an example, all MPs, part of our statutory payment, you are making dedication for TVET education to complement what Ministry of Education was doing. Then it becomes decentralized and reaches all the nook and crannies of our country who will be making the needed impact. And I'm sure that the turnout will be very positive. Speaker, thank you for the space.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader. Very well. Yes. Leader, any indication?
Under the circumstance, may I move that the House is adjourned to Wednesday, 2 p.m. I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, the motion for adjournment has been moved and has been seconded. The question is, as many as are in favor of adjournment, say aye. Those against adjournment, say no. I'll take the question again. As many as are in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye. Those against the motion to adjourn, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it. The House is accordingly adjourned to Wednesday, the 21st of July, 2021 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Honorable members, the House stands adjourned.